right, and Hofstra made a few mistakes, and we were able to capitalize on it. That was one of the biggest wins we've ever had, I guess, here in the stadium.
Look at Coach Marshall. He's soaked.
It's an exciting game for us, Carl. You got to be a part of it. It's a real rivalry.
If it all ended today for whatever reason, what does Coach Tom Marshall want to be remembered for?
Oh, I don't know, Carl. He's just a good coach.
That was quite an afternoon when I visited with Coach Tom Marshall. Never saw him be that emotional, and the game wasn't even on the line at that point. Now joined by one of Coach Tom Marshall's former players. Now he's on the coaching staff at CW Post, and I guess the syrup incident, Rich Carroll, would that be a way to describe you, or more of, how about an academic All-American and quite a football player on the offensive line?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm putting things into use now. I learned a lot when I was playing here, so I know the offense, so it made it real easy for me coming in to take over the offensive line. I know my assignment, so I'm trying to put it out so everybody on the offensive line knows theirs now.
From peeling that equipment off after every Saturday afternoon's game, now you're carrying a clipboard. You know what this game is all about. You played in it 4 times. Your thoughts on this being what everyone says the final game between Hofstra and CW Post?
Oh yeah, this is Cowboys against the Indians. That's what it's all about here. You know, the good guys against the bad guys. You know, depending on who you want to call the good guy or who you want to call the bad guy. This is the way it's been. You know, I think that the record's all tied up 14-all, and this is going to be the big breaker right here. Doesn't get more emotional than this one. I didn't have to put too much talk into my guys. They're all ready to go. You know, we got another half of football. You saw the first half was real intense. It's just going to get better. It's just going to get better.
If I keep letting you go, I think you're going to run to that locker room. You're going to put your uniform, old number 67, I believe,
right,
go back on your back, and you want to get out there. You were talking about having been away from the game there. You coached 1 year over at Wagner as an assistant coach with Walt Hamline. Now you're back here, but you really felt today was that one day that you really wanted to put the pads back on.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you're done, you know, it's too quiet. Too quiet when it's all over. You want to get, you know, I can only be involved so much. I can tell them what to do, but I can't go out there and do it for them. I'd love to go out there and, you know, get a couple pancakes maybe, right?
Ask Larry Brady if he'll bring the syrup over from Hofstra University. He graduated last year. Rich, your thoughts now. What was the toughest adjustment for you going from being the great player and a solid student here at CW Post to now working with the guys? Was that a tough adjustment for you?
Well, I don't think it was a very big adjustment because when I played here, I had my assignment was to help out on the offensive line where I was needed with the younger guys. So a lot of these guys that I'm coaching now, I actually played with, and it's just a carryover, you know. They're really a great bunch of guys. Billy Corrado, Glenn Crowley, John Calabria. We got a new kid, Espinar, out there, number 70. You know, hey, they've made it real easy for me, you know, to be a good coach.
What was the talk like in the locker room before today's game? I mean, not much has to be said when Hofstra plays CW Post, but what was it like about an hour before the game, about 12 o'clock this afternoon?
Silence. Dead silence.
Silence is golden usually, right?
Well, you know, everybody was just thinking about what they had to do, and that's what it's all about, you know. It's the pregame, you know, there wasn't much talking. I don't think there's much needs to be said when it comes to a game like this one. It's just, you know, think about what you have to do.
All right, let me ask you something. One last question here. What would Coach Marshall be telling the troops right now? Is it still silence in there?
Oh, I don't think it's silence right now. I think he's getting them pumped up. Getting them pumped up for another 2 quarters of football. This game is by far over. I mean, there's only a 2-point spread here at this point. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of work in front of us, especially with this Hofstra team. You know, they're not going to just lay down. We're going to have to come out and maybe get a couple cakes out there, right, Carl? Let's see what happens.
Well, you can leave my name off of that. I'm going to leave that up to you and Larry Brady. Rich Carroll, thanks for coming by. I know you do have some work because you are a coach. It is halftime. Good luck in the second half, and good luck with your career.
Okay, Carl, thank you.
All right, Rich Carroll working with Tom Marshall's offensive line this year, coming back after a year being spent over Wagner as the assistant coach. When we come back to Hickok Field, joined by Marty Lyons. Halftime numbers and highlights to follow, so stay with us.
At Hofstra, the range of student activities and resources for learning is enormous. Over 100 student clubs, 5 student newspapers, outstanding residential facilities, 7 75 acres of recreational fields, over 60,000 square feet of indoor recreational space, an indoor 8-lane full-size Olympic swimming pool, Hofstra Vision, 18 cable channels and 4 channels programmed by the university. Hofstra University. We teach success.
Finding writers to join the best new sports section in New York hasn't been easy.
Most triples in a season, New York Mets.
And Mookie Wilson.
First draft choice for the Knicks in '67.
Walt Frazier.
Most shutouts, New York Yankees.
Whitey Ford.
How far down the left field line in Wrigley Field?
350 feet.
355. Get out of here.
The bigger, bolder sports section of the Times. Every day, everything New York, everything sports. Now, in the New York Times.
Hockey myth number 14.
Hockey is so confusing. I can't follow the action. Wow, what a great shot.
Follow the Islanders and Devils this fall on Sports Channel.
Last season's #1 rookie. Plus, the #2 draft pick.
The New Jersey Nets select Kenny Anderson.
Equals Derek and Kenny this fall on Sports Channel.
Now joined by Marty Lyons, and Marty, Rich Carroll summed it up by saying it was the Cowboys against the Indians, and we have quite a football game here at halftime, 16-14 post.
Well, it's been a hard-hitting game. Both teams have 2 turnovers, but I think the big statistic that stands out is Hofstra's penalties. They've already got 70 yards in penalties.
They lead, I should say, Post leads by the score 16-14, and Coach Gardy did say that mistakes have hurt them in the first half, and you mentioned those penalties. How do you stay away from that type of stuff?
Well, the one thing, you got to keep yourself into the game. You got to keep yourself realizing that everything is a critical thing. Everything is a critical play. Right down there, right before halftime, you're 2nd and 1. You got an excellent opportunity to stick it in, to take the lead, take the momentum into halftime. Your offensive lineman jumps offside, puts you in a passing situation.
All right, let's take a look at those halftime numbers. Marty said the one thing that stuck out in his mind were the penalty yards, but other than that, Marty, anything that you like or dislike from either team on those halftime numbers?
Well, I think the one thing that you got to, both quarterbacks are using their scrambling ability. Beisel on Hofstra's side, he's making things happen. Carino on the other side, he's making things happen. But they've got to give the opportunity to the receivers to make things happen. Both teams defensively are struggling.
All right, on the scoreboard, 16-14 in favor of the Pioneers over the Flying Dutchman. There was some fireworks towards the end of that first half, and we're going to get a look at some of them, Marty, because let's face it, the CW Post with an effort to come back in this football game. And this first will be Beisel, and he goes over the middle, and Wayne Morris put Hofstra on top.
Wayne Morris just made an excellent catch there. The play before, he missed an opportunity to score a touchdown. He comes back with a big-time catch. Right there, that gave Hofstra the lead.
That gave him the lead at 14-9 with 3:28 left in that first half, but with 1:20 left in the first half. How about Dean Carino to Jim Byrne and a 16-14 post lead?
Well, the one thing, Carino goes back, he throws the ball up, and Burns just makes an excellent catch here, but he turns around Boyd, the defender, for an easy 6 points.
Second straight week that the Hofstra secondary has had some problems. Last week against New Hampshire. Today, Dean Carino exploiting the secondary of Hofstra.
Well, I think the one thing, you have to give credit to Post. They came out, they're playing very aggressive, and Tom Marshall's doing an excellent job play selection. He's keeping them off balance. He's running the ball inside and outside, and then he's taking advantage of the deep pass.
One guy that I think you've been pretty much impressed with in the first half from CW Post, because he's a defensive lineman, you show a little favoritism, but Mario Lopez is all over George Beisel.
Well, the one thing that they're doing is they're double-teaming Wilkes. And anytime that they double-team Wilkes, that leaves Lopez one-on-one, and he's doing an excellent job getting back there to the quarterback.
What do you think Post has to do, Marty, to maintain this 2-point lead and win this football game?
Well, I think the biggest thing they have to do is they got to keep the run and shoot on the bench. They've got to keep their offense. They got to consume some time off the clock to win this game.
All right, should be a most interesting second half. CW Post leading by 2 at 16-14. Back with the second half action when we return to Hickok Field, campus of CW Post University.
Hi, I'm Cy Sperling, president of Hair Club for Men. Since 1982, when I did my first TV commercial, we now have over 30,000 satisfied clients. And it all started for them when they called our toll-free number to get their free booklet.
Inside the information booklet on thinning hair is a comprehensive discussion about dealing with hair loss. There's also Hair Club's non-surgical strand-by-strand method of adding carefully matched top-quality human hair to your own hair. It looks and feels natural, whether you're skimming the surf at 30 knots or racing the wind on a cruiser for 2. Even precious moments don't have to be anxious moments anymore. There's a renewed confidence in your appearance and yourself. Hair Club members enjoy a worry-free active lifestyle. For more information without obligation, call this toll-free number. You see, we believe the more you know about your hair loss options, the better we look.
And remember, we stand behind it. And by the way, I'm not only the Hair Club president, but I'm also a client.
Young man who's had an outstanding first half defensively, Mario Lopez, a huge guy out of Malvern High School, and he has done the job defensively for the Post Pioneers. Well, you know, Sports Channel this year is going with a Metro College poll that is including Division I AA, Division II and III teams in our viewing area. Sort of a mixed bag, and we hope that you'll enjoy it throughout the year. Well, you're watching number 1 Hofstra. Number 2 Princeton is playing at Fordham this afternoon. Number 3 Cortland State is hosting Buffalo State, a battle of unbeaten teams. Number 4 Ithaca is playing at Alfred. Number 5 Union hosting Albany. Cornell upset by Princeton, entertaining Colgate. Ramapo entertaining Kane College. And last night Trenton State shut out Uppsala 28-0. And speaking of Trenton State, with the big win yesterday, we'll take a look at our Sports Channel scoreboard this afternoon. Fordham Rams battling tough this afternoon, taking on the Princeton Tigers. They're in the third quarter tied at 7 apiece. Lehigh and Columbia are 14-9 as they go to the third quarter. Good effort by Columbia this afternoon. And elsewhere, Harvard surprising Army 13-7. St. John's trailing Stony Brook 28-21. And elsewhere, Cortland and Buffalo. It's Cortland with the early lead, and followed by Ithaca, 10-0 lead over Alfred. And some of the other scores this afternoon, as you can see right there, as they round out our scoreboard. Iona, by the way, leading Catholic 18-13. One of our other scores as we get ready for the second half. As kicking off will be CW Post Marty O'Brien. Cox will let Carlos Smith field it at the 2-yard line. Smith up the middle, 20-25, and finally wrestled down by Dom Leone, but not before. He brought it to the 31-yard line. A 30-yard return, where it is 1st and 10 for the Hofstra Flying Dutchman. Marty, what do you think Joe Gardy said in that locker room to his ball club?
I think the one thing that Joe tried to stress was we're killing ourselves. We're hurting ourselves with mental mistakes, and we're hurting ourselves with penalties.
I want to remind you that we had our Player of the Week, Sports Channel's Player of the Week, Trenton State's quarterback Ed Walsh, the sophomore from Old Bridge, New Jersey, had quite a week last week. Passed for 2 touchdowns and ran 70 yards for another as Trenton tied William Patterson 27 and 27. Congratulations to our Player of the Week, quarterback Ed Walsh from Trenton State. We did have a penalty on the kickoff. It was declined, and Hofstra will put the ball in play 1st and 10
here we go.
at the 31-yard line. We'll give you some numbers for Mr. Beisel in a moment. Had a great first half, 16 of 22, 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Blondie was his big receiver, 5 catches for 117 of those yards. Cox bounces off 1 tackle. Cox has 5, Cox has 10. And a first down from Mark Cox as they start the second half with a good play.
You gotta like the way Mark Cox runs the ball. He covers it up, he runs with authority, and he runs north and south.
Brian Parnas, the linebacker, brought him down, number 54, not before Cox picked up the first down. Play being sent in visually from the sideline. Manny Matsakis sends the plays in from up top. The offensive coordinator, Jim Crane. Receivers coach sends it in visually. Cox, not much of a hole, but able to use his ability to squirt 3-4 yards out of it. And crosses the 45 to the 46, Dom Leone, and Brian Parnas combining to stop him. Hofstra trailing by 2, 16-14. Early third quarter. Sophomore quarterback Beisel out of Philadelphia. To Cox. Cox has a 2-yard pickup as he gets to midfield, shy of the first down. Brian Parnas brought him down once again. Parness, the sophomore from Plantation, Florida. That's your home state. Then getting some Florida players coming up north here.
Well, the one thing about playing football in Florida, you have that 12-month-a-year weather that you can go out and condition yourself, and it's just gorgeous to go out there and train.
You don't get this kind of weather in Florida. This is great football weather.
Oh, this is great, but it's getting a little nippy up here, Barrett.
Surprising, Marty Lyons. He used to play in some cold weather with those Jet teams, especially at Shea Stadium. 3rd and 2 at midfield, and post moving Troy Wilkes trying to get into the backfield. And that should be enough for the first down on the penalty, if it indeed is Wilkes on the offside.
Offside, post, first down.
So they'll mark it at the 45, and Hofstra with the first down. They're using it. Looks like a lookalike for one of us up here, Marty. Hofstra crowd, sun-bathed crowd here. Beisel looking deep. He's got Cologne wide open. Inside the 20 at the 18-yard line. Bobby Cade on this coverage, but he was wide open, and Beisel laid it right in there.
Well, that's what giving Mark Cox the ball does. It frees up your receivers. Right there, it's just a play action. Mark Cox fakes into the line of scrimmage. Beisel makes an excellent throw downfield. 4th reception for Cologne, the speedster from the Bronx, out of DeWitt Clinton High School. 1st and 10 at the 18. Little screen here to Cox, and hit from behind by Mario Lopez. Stopped at the 15-yard line. Short pickup, but let's call it 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Well, Lopez has been a force today, and along with Guy Furtado, they've done an excellent job blocking Troy Wilkes so far. Now Cox lining up as a wide receiver, so they go with no setback here. Cologne, by the way, has caught 4 passes for 68 yards. A lot of time for Beisel. Cox. Good second effort to the 1-yard line. Finally brought down, but not before he picked up the goal-to-goal situation. Parness on the stop. Good-looking drive here, Marty, for Hofstra starting the second half. Well, this has been a good-looking drive for Mark Cox. He's been doing everything. Right there, he went from being in the backfield out into the split position, runs an in-and-out pattern, comes over the middle, picks up the first down, and now it's 1st and goal.
Hofstra, you may remember, in the late stages of the first half, self-destructed on a goal-to-goal situation down at the 1-yard line. Here it is 1st and goal. Beisel looking to throw for the touchdown. Has Morris wide open as Perez had backed off, and Wayne Morris with his 2nd touchdown reception of the day, and Hofstra regains the lead. His 4th catch of the afternoon, and Morris now with 31 catches. The school record is 60, and Morris already at 31 in just 4 ball games. Olshansky will attempt the extra point, thanking the holder. Hofstra with a 4-point lead. Beisel has thrown 3 touchdown passes this afternoon. Kick is blocked and will be no good. So Olshansky's kick blocked. They got some penetration that time. And Hofstra's lead stays at 4, 20-16 with 11:44 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, it's going to be important now to see how Post comes out offensively. Right there, that's an easy drive for Hofstra's offense. Post defense did nothing to come out and to establish that same momentum that they took into the locker room. Here's the touchdown. Beisel goes back. Morris, all he does is take 2 yards deep into the end zone, turns around, and he's wide open. The defender has to realize he can't play that far off your receiver.
Beisel having a fine afternoon, 19 for 29, no interceptions, 263 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 of those going to his favorite receiver, Wayne Morris. Morris is a big play guy. When you need 6, he'll be there, Marty.
Well, you know, he spends a lot of time at the New York Jets complex. He's trying to mold himself in a Rob Moore, Al auto-tune type of a player. And those are two of the best wide receivers in the NFL. So if Wayne continues to work as hard as he does, he may one day find himself in an NFL camp. There it is again. Beisel, he takes 3 steps. He drops back. He rolls to his right, which is going to give him more time. And there's Wayne Morris wide open in the corner of the end zone.
Excellent blocking by the offensive line. You saw Dave Barr, 62. You saw Stephen Chernaski, 52. Making some big plays there.
Get separated. Bubble. If they buzz you, you run power. I'm running an action pick.
Olshansky. Hayes at the 15 on the short kick. Fumbles the football as he crossed the 30. Loose ball, and the Pioneers, fortunately for them, have recovered. Well, Hayes got stuck, and as he got hit around the 30, coughed up the football, but fortunately the Pioneers came up with it.
That could have been a costly mistake right there, to turn the ball back over to Hofstra and give it to their offense, which is right now moving the ball and taking control up front in the trenches.
Pat Dalbo, number 32, recovered the football. So the Pioneers trailing in the ball game by 4, 20-16. Put it in play, 1st and 10 at the 32. Carino buys some good time here. And wrestling for the ball, Steve Javinsky battling for possession, but it is the tight end, Chris Jones, who comes up with the football, I believe.
It looks like Javinsky has an interception, but he has to realize once you take control of the ball, it's up for grabs. Both the wide receiver Jones, tight end Jones, and Javinsky, they catches the ball at the same time. The only problem, Jones comes up with it.
No, now they're going to reverse it. The officials conferred, and it's going to be a Javinsky interception.
Javinsky cuts in front of the tight end. He's got the ball, but as they go down, his knees down, but Jones takes the ball away. They ruled an interception.
So it is now on the big turnover, the 3rd interception of the game, thrown by Dean Carino. Hofstra with the football. Let's see if they cash in quickly. George Beisel with a 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. Al Hagopsky is the running back behind quarterback Beisel. Sending a man in motion, Millington. Beisel rolling left, Hagopsky open in the flat. Now feels some pressure from Wilkes, chased by Furtado. Incomplete off the pads of the intended receiver, Cologne, who was being covered by Brian Parness, setting up a 2nd down play.
Beisel's just doing an excellent job scrambling to give his receivers extra time to get open.
Steve Javinsky, who had a big interception a couple of weeks ago, comes up with a big one here.
He just makes an excellent break on the ball. He breaks in front of the tight end. He's got the ball. He goes down. His knees hit the ground. That's why it's an interception.
Well, they wanted the defensive backs to come up with athletic plays like that. They hadn't been doing it. They came up with a couple of big interceptions like that last year or last week. Beisel chased and throws, short gain as he got it to Millington. Furtado and Lopez were running him to the sideline, and he was able to get the pass off for a short pickup, setting up a 3rd down play.
Well, you saw Beisel pump once, he pumped twice. He had enough time to go ahead, find his secondary receiver, and still pick up 9 yards.
It's 3rd and about 2. They've got to go to around the 31-yard line. The ball spotted at the 33. Actually, it's about 1.5 yards here. Hagopsky, the single setback. He'll get the call. Tripped up in the backfield. Troy Wilkes with a big defensive play as he was able to beat the number 60 over there, Chris Cameron, on that play and get in.
Troy Wilkes just made a big-time play there. Now Joe Gardy has to make a decision whether he wants to go for it here on 4th down. Here you see Wilkes just takes an inside slant.
However, we have a penalty. Defensive holding may be the call.
We had a mistake. The hold against the offense.
Now they've changed it. The hold is on the offense. Initially had signaled it the other way, and there was a roar from the Hofstra crowd. Let's see what they decide to do here.
We had a hold.
offense. Penalty is declined, okay, before it's down.
So it's 4th and 2. Interesting call for Joe Gardy here. The ball inside the 35, and I don't see any punters coming in here.
Well, that's an interesting call by Tom Marshall. You could take him back another 10 yards and make it 3rd and 12. Now it's 4th and 3. Hofstra has an opportunity to pick this up.
And Joe Gardy, the gambler, is going to go for it. He says, I've got the offense. This is nothing I can't make, and he's going to try it here. 4th down and 3. Cologne wide open, has the first down at the 24-yard line. John Stevens, the closest man defending on the play, but a quick look in, and wide open was Kenny Cologne.
Well, that backfired on Tom Marshall. Tom Marshall thought his defense would come up with the big play. It kept the momentum on Hofstra's side. Now they've got a 1st and 10 again. They're eating up the clock, and they have a chance to score again.
10:54 to go, 3rd quarter. Hofstra trailed 16-14 at the end of the first half. But George Beisel's 3rd touchdown pass, a 1-yard pass to Wayne Morris, has put him in front by 4. Chased by Furtado. Good screen to Hagowski. Hagowski bouncing off a couple of guys. Look at the drive to the 10-yard line and gang tackled there. Great effort by Al Hagowski, who's a load, but they say he's improved his speed this year, and he dragged a couple of guys with him.
Well, Hagowski's that's just a design middle screen. They let the defenders come in. They let George Beisel, he goes back. He wants the defenders to get on him. He dumps it off to Hagowski, and then there it is. He picks up 15 yards.
Beisel, with 10:19 to go, has Morris in motion. Now 3 wide receivers to the top of your screen. Beisel keep it on the option. Off to Hagowski. Flipped by the tackle. In toward the sideline, and he goes in for the touchdown. Derek Perez had an angle him into the backfield, number 15. Hagowski able to sidestep him and go down the right sideline in for the touchdown.
Well, you got to give credit to Hagowski. He made an excellent run. He kept his legs moving. But on the other side of the coin, CW Post, they've got to learn to tackle. They've got to learn to wrap up. They're not helping their own cause. There's plenty of time to play in this game. Don't accept defeat right now.
Hofstra blew them out last year with a great 3rd quarter effort. And right now, 2 quick touchdowns in the first 5 minutes here. Hofstra looking to make it 27-16 on the extra point attempt. And Olshansky's kick is good. So 2 quick scores have given Hofstra a 27-16 lead. And the Hofstra fans along the near sideline enjoying it. Tom Marshall says we've got to regroup right here. Watch on this replay. Hagowski sidesteps Derek Perez, number 15.
Right here, it's just an option to the short side of the field. Hagowski, he's got it. He makes an inside cut right there. He puts his head down. There's a missed tackle. And then the last 5 yards, nothing but pure effort.
Out of Jackson, New Jersey, this sophomore is a power runner. He's an old-fashioned runner. He'll knock guys over. But the important thing is he improved his speed this year. He was about a 4.9 guy. He's now 4.7.
Well, I think that's because of the athletic program that they have over there, the weight training that Joe Gardy has brought in there. These people are dedicated to winning now. Now that they've moved up a division, they're facing bigger, stronger, faster teams, and Joe Gardy wants to have his players at the level where they can be, where they can compete and be respectful.
They're a very good condition team. They feel they're going to out-condition teams in the second half of ball games. And that last drive, 6 plays, 42 yards, under a minute and a half. And Al Hagowski with a 10-yard run. And Hofstra leading by 11. Beisel, by the way, now 22 for 33 for 245 yards and 3 touchdowns. As Hofstra's opened up the 11-point lead. Flying Dutchman will play Buffalo next week. You'll see it on Sports Channel next Friday night at 7:30. Buffalo playing at Westminster today. Short kick. Green will take it at the 25. And we'll get across. across the 30 to around the 34-yard line. So a 9-yard return. And this is a crucial drive right here. Post not only has to maintain ball control, they've got to maintain poise right here, Marty, and not try to go for 6, maybe all in one play.
Post has got to build some confidence. Last time they came 3 plays and out, their defense is struggling. Hofstra come out, they've taken control of this game.
Hey, Bobby, tell him to give
And if Post doesn't get anything started, this could really get out of hand.
Carino to throw on first down. Open Pergola. As he split the defense there. Finally brought down by Salgado. And also on the play, Billy Deacon. Nice thrown pass to Anthony Pergola. Another one of those Sachem High School players. Transfer from Maryland where he played baseball. Led the team in receptions last year with 42. And last year against Hofstra had 5 catches for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. First and 10 from the 47. Good blocking. And something went astray there. Chris Jones was the closest to the ball, the tight end. As Vince Gallion was covering him out in the flat. Clock stops with 9:32 to go. Hofstra will make a substitution. Jim McManus replaces Mike Gifford on the defensive line.